Hello and welcome to Bình Phước Radio television station and newspaper news. Now take a look at top story as usual. Problem with National Highway 13 expansion project to be solved. Chân Thành district honor example in women's union movement. Excitement about road DT 760 construction. Prime Minister chair government meeting for February. Vietnam welcomed dialogue between Ukraine and Russia. Ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Chairman of the Bình Phước Provincial People Committee Huỳnh Anh Minh and leaders from provincial departments and branches have conducted a survey to resolve problems and difficulty in a project to upgrade and expand National Highway number 13 from the Lộc Tấn intersection to the Hoa Lư International Border Gate and to build a western part of National Highway number 13 connecting Chân Thành and Hoa Lư.
Mr. Minh agreed with a proposal from the Project Management Board to keep the old route and extend it in the same direction to avoid affecting local people. He also suggested that the Project Management Board coordinate with relevant departments to study a feasibility project for the intersection at Chiu Riu. He also agreed with building a median strip to facilitate entry into and exit from companies, especially by heavy trucks and container trucks. Regarding a proposal to build an airport in Lộc Tấn Commune in Lộc Ninh district, Mr. Minh assigned the Project Management Board to advise the Provincial People's Committee on procedures to ensure compliance with regulations.
The Women's Union of Chân Thành District recently held a meeting to celebrate the 112th anniversary of International Women's Day on March 8th and the Hai Bà Trưng uprising, and to break example in the emulation movement of the Women's Union.
In 2021 and the first 2 months of 2022, women's unions at all levels in the district were involved in the patriotic emulation movement for economic, cultural, and political development. Women's associations at all levels supported the fight against COVID-19 at a total cost of about 5 billion dong. The district women's union saved 1.1 billion dong, helping 728 disadvantaged women develop their family's economy. It also built 5 shelters of love, costing 300 million dong to support the poor. On the occasion of the Lunar New Year, or Tet holiday, the district's women's union presented more than 2,000 gifts worth more than 1 billion dong to disadvantaged people. Member families have also actively participated in building new rural areas with contributions totaling 1.17 billion dong. On this occasion, the Women's Union of Chân Thành District commended and rewarded 5 groups and 10 individuals who were typical examples in the Women's Union in 2021.
A project upgrading and expanding road DT 760 in Bù Gia Mập district with a total length of 29 kilometers is being undertaken by 5 contractors.
The road is designed under Grade 3 mountainous standards. The road surface is 9 meters wide with a shoulder of 3 meters. With total investment of 150 billion dong, the project is being supported by the Ho Chi Minh City People's Committee. For many years, road DT 760 has been in serious disrepair, making transportation difficult. Households on both sides of the road have long been frustrated by the extent of the damage, which directly affects their livelihoods. The project is expected to be completed in the second quarter of this year. People are very happy. Now the locality is preparing to build a new road. This will help local socio-economic development.
Ladies and gentlemen, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính chaired a regular government meeting in Hanoi on March the 3rd.
A report at the meeting showed that in February and the first 2 months of 2022, the country saw positive results in socio-economic development. The report underlined that unpredictable and complicated developments in the world political economic situation, such as the Russia-Ukraine tension or rising oil prices, have put remarkable impacts on the domestic situation. Addressing the meeting, Prime Minister Chính noted that despite the achievements in the first 2 months of this year, Vietnam is facing numerous risks such as inflation pressure, considerable instability in export market, and unforeseeable changes in the world situation, as well as great losses due to natural disasters. According to the government leader, difficulties and challenges will be greater than advantages and opportunities in the months to come, with many unpredictable factors. Therefore, he stressed ministries, sectors, and localities should continue drastically implementing measures to maintain macroeconomic stability, prevent pandemic, and deal with international complicated developments.
We have more news coming up next. Let's take a look.
The 12th Security Cooperation Conference between Vietnam and Laos took place in Vientiane on March 3rd under the co-chair of Vietnamese Deputy Minister of Public Security, Senior Lieutenant General Luong Tam Quang, and his Lao counterpart, Senior Lieutenant General Công Thông Phong Vichit. At the conference, the two sides agreed to maintain the effective implementation of existing cooperation mechanisms and step up information sharing and coordination in addressing impact of non-traditional security threats that affect ties between two countries. They also pledged to closely coordinate at international and regional security cooperation forums and ensure security for major events to be held in Vietnam and Laos in the coming time.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs held a regular flash briefing in Hanoi on March the 3rd.
During the press briefing, spokesperson Lê Thị Thu Hằng informed about evacuation of Vietnamese people in Ukraine until noon of March 3rd. Accordingly, most of the Vietnamese settling in Kiev and Odessa and hundreds of people in Kharkov, Ukraine, have been evacuated from the war zones and relocated to neighboring countries, including more than 400 people to Moldova, 600 to Poland, and dozens of others to Romania, Slovakia, and Hungary. Regarding the ongoing dialogue between Ukraine and Russia, the spokesperson said Vietnam welcomes the dialogue and hopes that the sides will soon find long-term peaceful solutions to differences in line with international law, with legitimate rights and interests of the concerned parties being taken into account. The spokeswoman said Vietnam supports and calls on international community to further facilitate the dialogue and increase donations and humanitarian aid for civilians. Also at the briefing, the spokeswoman announced that Vietnamese Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính will attend the special high-level ASEAN-US meeting slated for Washington in the coming time at the invitation of US President Joe Biden.
Real estate and entertainment firm Sun Group has launched its Sun Air, the first luxury airline in Vietnam, providing private jet management and air charter service and sightseeing flight using helicopter and seaplanes.
It targets high-class customers requiring high-standard services. It aims to become a global private jet airline using aircraft with the highest speed in the world. With charter flights and sightseeing services using helicopters and seaplanes, Sun Air will connect Sun Group's resort entertainment real estate products to form the first closed, safe, luxurious, and private service in Vietnam. In the third quarter of 2022, Sun Air will operate two Gulfstream G650ER jets. In the 2023-2025 period, the airline plans to use one Gulfstream G650ER, one Gulfstream G700, one helicopter, and two seaplanes.
In the first 2 months of this year, Vietnam pocketed some $8 billion from agricultural exports, increased by nearly 21% against the same period last year.
Export posting high growth included coffee, rice, pepper, shellfish, shrimp, and wood and timber products. Meanwhile, tea, vegetables, and cashew nuts saw a slight decrease. The U.S. remains Vietnam's biggest buyer, purchasing over $2.3 billion worth of the products, or 28.2% of the total. Some 70% of exports to the U.S. were wood and timber products. It was followed by China in the second and Japan in the third place. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is now focusing efforts on gaining broader access for Vietnamese exports to major markets such as Peru, Australia, Brazil, China, and the US.
Germany Stuttgarter Nachrichten newspaper had recently posted an article saying that Vietnam is one of the most beautiful countries in Asia and highlights 5 reasons for Germans to travel to the Southeast Asian nation.
The newspaper said one of the 5 reasons why Vietnam is worth visiting is incredibly delicious food. Vietnam cuisine is one of the tastiest in the world. The second is that Vietnam is a country with plenty of sun and beautiful beaches, thanks to the long coastline. The author chose Ha Long Bay, a UNESCO-recognized World Heritage Site, and Phu Quoc Island as attractive destinations that are worth visiting. The Mekong Delta is also a reason for Germans to visit Vietnam. According to the article, in order to really experience the tranquility of life in the Mekong Delta, holiday makers should plan at least 3 days. Other interesting things in Vietnam are narrow streets, old temples, and magnificent buildings. A pole in the heart of Vietnam is the city of Hội An, as the historic old town is the only one that was not completely destroyed during the war. And that is why it was also named the UNESCO World Heritage Site. The 5th reason, according to the German newspaper, is Vietnam's beautiful landscape with the green rice terraces and sand dunes. They are advised to visit Phong Nha Kẻ Bàng National Park in Núi Chua National Park if they really want to immerse themselves in nature.
And that's all for our news today. Thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye.